All right. Welcome to another episode of Perfect Snap Builder. Today we're looking at the Action Base 1 and Action Base 4 and how either of them hold up against this chunkster. Right. So Action Base 1 is from, I have no idea when. It's a pretty old Action Base. The packaging is obviously new because it has the new blue Bandai logo instead of the old red one. But yeah, can't really tell. Okay, so this is from 2007, and this is first made in. Oh boy, I almost tipped my FAZZ over. And this one is from 2017, so 10 years apart. A big, as what we can see from the packaging, a very important feature that this one has is that it does not require a screwdriver, whereas there are two screws included for this. One that is always used as this part of the action base. Let's zoom in a little bit. So that will be this part of the action base, so where the top pivot is. And another one is used for special cases where it needs to be screwed into the model kit. Alright, so let's get started.
Let's go.
That was really loud and came out of the wrong speaker, so to speak. Alright, so now all the speech to chats should be going to the headphone. So here we have the action base adapter from the FAZZ. That's this piece right here, so we'll be using this later in the build. Let's start with Action Base 1 first. Instead of the usual heat sealed wrapping, it's tape. And something else that is new is that previously this plastic doesn't exist, and I don't think that's good, because now there's just extra packaging and plastic is never good. Slice this bag open, and in a bit, because I realized that I forgot a screwdriver, we'll have to go grab a screwdriver. The base itself, some of the extra large pieces. So this is part of the base, this is part of the base. That's a big shaft, but you know, let's stop talking and just start cutting. Just a reminder for anybody who does have a god hand to be fairly careful when cutting clear parts, because they tend to be harder and more brittle. And what that does is that what problem it poses is that it will tend to, it has a higher probability of snapping the blade on the god hand. So for this, I will cut out all the parts because I do have a zig block bag that is for basically all these I think there's like the 8, 10, 15 millimeter hip adapters and like the screwing thing. But that's okay. We can just cut these out and leave these to the side to be perhaps never ever used. For these, we'll just cut directly against the part because chances of us using this is not that great, and plus this is still a action base, so I will say that the finish on it is much less important. For those who does want to use the hip adapter, so let me finish that thought. For those of you who does want to use a hip adapters, there's a couple of things that you must note. So this is clear, so it's going to be kind of hard to see, but the length of this thing, which is somewhere along the lines of 2 centimeters. You can trim these to be shorter to fit your kit better, and you have to make sure that the number marks, the 4 nub marks, has to be cleaned fairly well, or else it might scratch or hit things. But if you're making a modern kit, most likely you don't need it because it comes with the base adapter like FAZZ here. One of the kind of terrible thing about clear pieces is that if it's not well protected, most likely there will be some cracks. Most likely the joint where the plastic is already cracked. So a good example is this here. Here in the, oh, okay, now it's in the middle. Here in the middle, you can see that in the clear plastic there is a big white part. So that white part is really basically the plastic has broke and being stressed, and it cracks a little bit, and it's especially easy to crack because clear. For whatever physical property there is, clear parts tend to be brittle. That applies to things like glass um, and plastics. I think it has to do with the way the grains of the molecules are arranged to give it a clear property. But naturally, I'm not a material scientist, so I have no idea how material science works. Just I wouldn't take that statement too seriously. If there are material scientists that can chime in as to why is clear plastic more brittle than not clear plastic, that'd be cool. So this adapter that I'm cutting off right now is the one that's used for the Sazabi. And it's like a C-clamp. Alright, so we have all the parts. Now we just gotta do a quick cleanup of all the nut marks. This one we can install first just to get rid of the part. Same goes for this. So a lot of times clear plastic, the tolerances on the original Action Base 1 is not great. They include the new Action Bases with things like the new MG Wing Zero Verka. Those came with a slightly different Action Base one that is much better. It is also a screwdriver or a screwless design, and the latching system is more akin that of the metal build bases. So let's put all the completed parts there. Hmm. This new batch of clear plastic seems softer than the normal ones. That's very interesting. But then it still is quite hard because I just heard it crack. I'm only using the glass file today because it tends to take away the marks and leave the part quite clear without me having to do a lot of work. Alright, let's start assembly. Well, let's refer to the manual because I don't remember what side is the top side normally. So this is the bottom side. All right, here we have our Action Base one built, and the base adapter would just go like that right there. I haven't gotten to the screw part, so let's do the screw part. I think we use a long screw and the nut. It's okay, we'll just get everything out. Yep. Let's just leave that as that for now. And let's move on to Action Base number 4. After a slight cleanup. Action Base 4. Packaging is exactly the same. But it seems like there's slightly less plastic inside. Plastic packaging inside. Also has this. There's 3 of these hexagonal bases that combine into whatever hexagonal shape that you like, really. Okay, for now, let's put all the spare parts from Action Base 1 into this bag. For now. But we're separating them out and not mixing them all together in a bit. So there's many options as to how you want to build this base, and there's clamp type adapters, the small rod type things. In general, this is a slightly more versatile base, I feel. But let's get building. So let's build out the bottom base first. Here is where they did the split, so that when the workers are packaging it, they can simply just do that and separate out the 2 parts. I think they did that for the new Perfect Grade Unleashed, so that the user can have the individual, let's say, torso parts all grouped together when they start building, so they don't have to have it completely separate out by color, and thus hopefully, at least the intention is that the person who's building can be a little bit more organized. So for this, we're just going to build out the whole shebang. So that's all 3 hexagons and all linked together. right now we can already see a very interesting comparison between the two action bases. First of all, one of this runner is already very yellow. I'm not sure if it's coming up, but this and that and the top half of it is extraordinarily yellow. I think it's just, I don't know, age of the plastic will cause that, but anyways. So here we can see a few differences. These bases, the surface is very simply designed. All the features that there are just the various holes to plug the base to plug, you know, adapters onto to support your kit. Whereas this, there's intricate details on the design, and here you can see that there's some, you know, piping here if you do want paint, if you do want to paint, and naturally this piece, the square piece out of the octagon, can be placed on any of the side, and the piping here will always match, because if you can see from the design, there's always at least one piping or two pipings going to each of the going outwards, and that matches up pretty well. So you can have a whole lot of these and just kind of place them all together and form a pretty large base. Naturally, a ditto for this one, except there's no details to create a linkage for. If you get like a straight black, solid black version, there won't be any of these ray looking things, because that's really just a underside support. This plastic is somehow more brittle than the Action Base one, or the gates are just larger, as I can definitely hear and feel more resistance when cutting down. And yeah, I'm not sure, just because I'm cutting against the part less, or that they're using a slightly different blend of plastic. The two other parts that we need from this is this. Better to go from the other side. Where's the clip? Oh, the clip is right here. Belong to who? Yes, all my action base belongs to me. Let's leave the other pieces for the moment, because there are things to talk about the other pieces compared to Action Base 1. Mostly to do with the versatility of this Action Base 4. Sorry, already cleaned up. That one's fine too. Do a little bit of light sanding to get marks out. Naturally, it was already inside a glass, sorry, inside a part. As in the crack is inside the plastic, then there's not much to be done. You can try to dip a little bit of glue in it and hope that it seals well, but most of the time there's a little bit of bubble residue inside, and yeah, it doesn't, and then you can still see the bubble after. For these, okay, that doesn't go with that. Does this go with this? Nope. Does this go with this? Yes. Right. So always we have to put in a piece that locks the part, and we have to shove in this piece with a gear. put it together. Same goes for this side, but we have to remember to put in this part. The gear part. Then this, and we can pick a suitable size for our, oh, which reminds me, you probably need this, right? Yeah, this is what we need. We need this. And for this one, we'll use the big piece to prop up the part. And we'll also need a square to a female to female adapter to convert our male part into a female part to accept the base adapter, this part. I wonder if I can get it to a better polish with this. Maybe marginally better. Anyways. Right. So Action Base 4 have the main, let's see, the main support completed. The main support can be split into two smaller supports, like so. There is a whole nut mark right here that I didn't cut out. Good job, me. And it could be separated like so. And when you're using this, it's very obvious that this doesn't have a lot of support, and it goes kind of right here, and it will just kind of fall. So what you'll need is something, what you'll need is this part. This is a adapter that gives a groove for you to put the ladder, so to speak. I will just call this thing, this piece, the ladder from now on, because it looks like a ladder. So what you do is that you Okay, right. You put this here. So this is the wrong side to be going into this action base. So, sorry, this adapter. So what you do is that you have your ladder at the bottom, and then you have it also clipped to somewhere near the top with another adapter. This is one of the good things and bad thing about Action Base 4 is that there are many adapters to keep track of. But it also means that it is fairly adaptable. So now you have another action base. You have the main stand being split in two. Sometimes this doesn't come out, but that's okay. Just get something from the bottom and poke it out and you're golden. So you can have something like this. And you can hope that your whatever you're trying to display here holds. But if it's something that straight, most likely the forces are going straight down. You'll be okay. Alright, so what other features are there for this Action Base 4? Let's build out the smaller arm as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to look at where it rolled to so I can pick it up easily later. Here we have another one of these, and we'll need to find a ladder for it as well. So let's get the medium-sized ladder, second largest ladder, or the second smallest ladder. Place it at the bottom. I think second from the last is the only one that will work, because if you place it from the bottom, it will interfere with another piece. Now, when you have something like this, it's not that stable, and sometimes it will rip out because this peg is too short. All right, what else do we got here? Let's build the pincer. And I don't know what this is, but I will just build it anyways. Ah, I think I know what this is. It is for this thing. Here is another rod type connector. This is completely friction based only. I think this is similar to the Figma adapters, I think. All right, here we have the pincer. It will be largely useless against the FAZZ because there's nothing this small. That said, it can be useful for propping up the Hyper Mega cannon. We got the pincer, we have the bigger base adapter, and let's see what else we have in terms of parts before. But I will do a slight cleanup of the nub marks on the table, or the nubs on the table. There's not a lot standing today, so the work surface remains pretty dustless. That said, because I'm working against a black surface, it means that the camera is working really hard to bring out the details. If the surface were to be a little bit lighter, it'll be much easier for the camera. But forget the camera. What else do we have here? So we have the similar adapter as the Action Base 1, where it's just holding from the crotch. We have another one of these female to female peg adapters, so we'll cut this out right now. Place it right there. So this runner is cleared as well. That is absolutely terrible. So let's give it a quick stand. For those who paint, make sure you don't blow directly onto your parts, because whenever you blow, there's a good chance that your spit will also go onto your uncured paint, and that will just make a mess. Right. So now that we have finished both action bases, let's kind of review what each of them bring to the table. And Kurona is just happy now that I just said what it brings to the table while doing this on the table. Right, first, let's look at the action base 1. On the action base 1, we have the stand itself, which has a couple of features. First, the most prominent feature are the hard points. So there's 2 at the bottom and 1 at the top. The top connects to the standard base adapter like this, and it just plugs straight in. Naturally, since this is a octagonal peg in a square hole, so you can also attach it at an angle like this. What other features does it have? You can extend the front portion, and then you can also extend the top portion like so. And since there is a strong locking mechanism, at least top down, it can be quite rigid, but it does suffer from, it will flex given enough time. The maximum height, while being semi-rigid, let's call it that, well, actually having enough leverage, I think that's a better phrasing. It's probably this position and that position. It's approximately, I have no good skill to do this, so I will use a cutting mat. Where does the cutting, okay, so the cutting mat starts counting from here. Approximately, this is 24-ish centimeters tall when extended to its maximum. And can be down to probably the longest way is this. And can be down to somewhere along the lines of I'd say it's 6 centimeters. But naturally, this has a extremely wide base, and really it wouldn't provide much lift. Probably better off just putting it on the whatever surface your display is on. So that is Action Base 1. Aside from the main Action Base and the arm that lifts the kit up, they also come with these kits. So what are these things? That makes it extraordinarily difficult to see. First, we have a tag display name tag thing. So what this allows you to do is, let's say you have a unicorn, then you can make a sticker that just says Gundam Unicorn and place it on here, like so, so that you have a little bit of a name tag right below your kit. It comes with 3 different base adapter for the kits which doesn't come with a base adapter. So that's these 3 parts here. We have a base adapter, we have a octagonal to 3mm adapter, so that you can plug it to any kits that has a 3mm hole. That applies to most frame arms, I think the Figmas, SH Figure Art kits, some of the HG kits, so on and so forth. Next, we have this slightly weird looking adapter. I mentioned that this, as far as I know, the only kit I have built so far that uses this is the Sazabi, the MG FAZZ Verka. This is another adapter. It's for any kit that requires a screw-on adapter, so it attaches to the... Oops. This happens from time to time. That's okay, because most you will always have a force going downwards on this kit, on the clear parts. So it attaches like so, and you can screw your kit on like that with the included screw. Now, I have not had a kit that requires this, so I have never used this before. That said, I have also never used the 3mm peg with Action Base 1 because I have never had a need to do that. I think the only kit, there are 2 kits I think that I own that requires, or 2 types of kits. Okay, there's 4 kits I think, yeah. So a kit that requires this is the... No, there's a lot more kits than that. Okay, so the Master Grade Mark II 2.0 requires these bases because it comes with its own base adapter that is usable with the Zeta base, which is its own base as well. Zeta will also require this because its adapter is strange and very different from the one from this square connector that we see here. It's a much longer, slightly rectangular connector. I believe all the crossbone kits requires the use of this, and the Master Grade Gundam 1 Year War will also require this. But that is all the kits that I know that doesn't come with one of these adapters. So anything really that's newer than 2007 should be okay. Right, now let's move on to everything that comes with Action Base 4. As with Action Base 1, it comes with these crotch adapters, and also come in the 3 sizes that are exactly the same. So the top one is from Action Base 1, and the bottom one is from Action Base 4. As you can see, they're the exact same size, except they just come from different kits. Right. Then we have the pincer. The pincer is for things like something that doesn't have a adapter, or something that doesn't have a thing to attach to. So some of the times with the Figmas, if it has hair or some accessory that uses 3mm peg, you will use this pincer to, you can have the option of using this pincer to attach it. Another thing that you can do is that if something has a really large weapon, for example, the FAZZ has the Hyper Mega Bazooka that is too large to be held, or it's sagging too much, or somehow you broke the joint and you just want to alleviate some of the stress on it, then you can kind of use this, just like that, to prop it up a little bit. Now, this can either attach directly to the longer stand, or you can use a, I think it's this guy. Yeah, this guy. So this is a 3mm to square peg adapter, and you use a 3mm hole to 3mm hole adapter, and now you can have a pincer on your, this looks basically like the Figma pincer or the SH Figure Art pincer. Right. As for adapters, these are the adapters we have. We have 2 of the square to square adapters. We have 1 of the square to 3mm peg adapters. We have a square peg to square peg adapter, or this is rather the octagonal adapter to octagonal adapter, which is exact same dimension as what is coming, what is part of the Action Base adapter that comes with the modern master grades. Here we have a right angle square to 3mm peg adapter. We have the 3mm hole, or this is really just a 3mm tube. And here we have a square to octagon adapter. In terms of arms, we have this 3mm to, I have no idea what the type, probably 1cm peg adapter. And this is relatively versatile because you can kind of just bend it however you want, and as long as you don't have too much weight, it is unlikely to sag. But this is entirely based on relying on the joint that is available based on, it is entirely relying on the friction within the joint and not anything else. Next, we have, I think, the more important bits of Action Base 4, which is the big adapter. How does this come out? The big adapter can be split into 2, and it can be used either individually or together. And when used individually, it can be attached to its own base, as we can see here. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. So we can attach to its own base, as we can see here, and it simply clips on. And you add one of the ladder, which comes in 3 sizes. So here we have it in small, medium, and large. Are you focusing? Okay, now you're focusing. Naturally, when you use a small ladder, most likely you're going to be at a really, really low angle like this. then you are not going to get a lot of height out of this action base. Right, and these two can be connected together like this, with the teeth facing inside. It comes with its own special base adapter that just makes it slightly larger. Then you can pick any of the ladder that you have and extend it. So for example, like this. Like this. Now there are limitations to this, I will say slightly more, but it is just as rigid. It's just that it doesn't have a way of extending almost straight because it relies on the ladder. Now the most straight I've been able to make it is somewhere along the lines of like this. That's about as long as this adapter can be. It is quite long for those who are a little bit who want to compensate. This is quite long, so you don't need to be shy. I think it's about the similar height as a regular action base. So yep, it is around the same length at 23 centimeters. So you may be losing a centimeter, but at that point in time, I think you're doing okay. Now this is there is a couple problem with this. So first, most of the weight is being borne on this particular peg, and what that means is that if there's an external force pushing it forward or backward, the peg can slip out. Whereas the action base one, you are always presented with a triangle, and that is inherently stronger than a single peg. Now we have both action bases built. Let's see how FAZZ, how they can handle the weight and the unbalancedness of the FAZZ. So let's put away all the doodads, so to speak. There is one doodad we'll need to keep, which is the square to square adapter here. And here we are, this is considered as not straight. That's another thing with this particular action base, because you have to make sure the angle here is acceptable. Sorry, you have to somehow make sure that the combination of these three, the angle of these three joints can make a stand of acceptable angle. So that is unacceptable. That is almost straight up, but maybe slightly leaning forward. Let's make an easy angle so that we don't have to have our FAZZ fall from a very extreme height. Let's do something comfortable like this. Yep, that looks straight. Here's our base, here is our FAZZ, and you can see that if we have a force down here, it will tend to lean back. But let's see. Let's see. Doodads goes here, doodads goes here, and more doodads go here. Let's sheath our knife and put away the god hand so that inevitably, well, just in case that when the FAZZ falls. So here we go. We slide the base adapter in between its crotch, like so. So you can see that due to the weight of this thing, it's severely leaning to the right. And really it should be somewhere like this. So this is with my hand being the support, and this is without my hand being the support. The camera is completely level. I made sure of that because sometimes OCD happens and they just need to be straight. So this is it being straight. Let me make sure I'm centered. So right now I think I'm straight and centered. And I let it sag. Right, so that is Action Base 4. So it can support the weight for sure, but then it doesn't. It cannot counteract the side to side. It cannot counteract a unevenly distributed weight. So we have Action Base 1. Let's also put this at the lowest position so it has a fighting chance against this heavy thing. That's it. I have to say, I'm very surprised that this thing can stand on its own without toppling over. Once again, we slowly put it in the peg. And here, at least from my point of view, which is straight on to the model kit, we can see that the side to side is very rigid and I don't need to have any support and it's completely straight. So I think the conclusion of this, at least what we're doing here, is that the Action Base 1 is better for heavier kit. However, the Action Base 4 is a lot more versatile. When you have something light, let's say any of the wing kits or any of the simpler Gundams, so let's say Gundam 3.0, Action Base 1 will work perfectly fine. Something like a V2 AB, Action Base 1 will probably be better because it's also very right side heavy. Anything that is fairly balanced, Action Base 4 is the way to go because it offers a lot more versatility. Anything that's very heavy, Action Base 1 is the way to go, or the new Action Base that's included in many of the new kits, like the Wing Zero Verka. Now, when we have I do have the Wing Zero Verka, so when we do inevitably get to it, I will also do a quick once over of the base itself. Actually, give me 1 minute, because I think I do have one of the new style Action Base 1 somewhere in one of the various Gunpla drawers. But before I do that, let me make sure I put you guys on intermission. All right, I'll be right back. All right, we are back. So this is the newer style Action Base 1. I'm not sure what it is officially called, but that's what I'm calling it. So as like the normal or the old 2007 Action Base 1, it has pattern on the top surface. It is a different design, and here we can see that instead of the slightly spiral pattern of the holes, it's evenly divided into the octagon. And here we also have the square piece that the regular Action Base 1 also have, but now it has different pattern and 2 extra holes. So the old Action Base 1, as we can see here, has 3 holes, like you know, the dice, the 3 side of the dice, whereas this looks like the 4 side of the dice. Naturally, the attachment is the same. You can just click it in like that. And if you want, you can even do something like this and click it into Action Base 1. Now, the difference is this. So this is a slightly different mechanism, and as I described, is closer to the middle build Action Bases. And the mechanism itself is similar to the locking mechanism that we have in Action Base 4. So that is like this tab right here. And there's like small gears inside, or a tooth and I guess I would just call it gears, although it's not moving. Right. So back to this Action Base. So the feature for the stand itself is first the sub arm can slide up and down instead of extending to allow you to adjust for the angle. And here is another lever that allows you to adjust the length of the main arm. Finally, there is a final lever that allows you to adjust the angle of the final pivot. The pivot at the bottom, the 2 pivot at the bottom have no adjustment whatsoever. They're just kind of based on where you place your stand. Right now, in my opinion, this is the superior stand, and this is the best stand that Bandai makes at the moment. They don't sell it individually, to the best of my knowledge. The only time that they're available is either with a kit, whether it be a complete kit or like an expansion kit. So mine is from the Full Armor Gundam Thunderbolts Massacre weapon expansion pack. So this kind of allows you to lay out all the full armor, and it gives you a extra bazooka and some doodads. And the rifle is weird. I didn't like the rifle. It suffers from the same problem that you really need to adjust the angle precisely, such so that your kit is aligned to your liking. So for example, now we gotta take this down and adjust it like this, so that our force is entirely going straight down into this peg. This is kind of also bad because there's still some forces that's acting this way, so it's kind of pulling the side up. But yeah, so this is the de facto best base. Why does Bandai not make it available more easily? I'm not sure. They do include it in a number of the new kits. The ones that are not limited edition that I can think of are the Wing Zero Verka, the build fighter wing, Fence Recentia. I don't remember how to read it. Unfortunately, I am not Italian. And I think that is it. The P Bandai kit I know that comes with this. The build fighter wing Recentia Elba comes with this. The full armor Thunderbolt expansion pack comes with this. The V2 Wings of Light kit comes with the pearl white version of this. And that is all I can remember at the moment. Yeah. There's also, yeah. So these are this is the best base. Why does Bandai not make this? I don't know. They should. They should just replace this base altogether and just make this one. But anyways, that is it for the review. For those who just skip to the end, the verdict is that Action Base 4 is more versatile and it has a lot more doodads that you can use and separate out. So with one Action Base 4, you can display like maybe 4 smaller kits. But if you have something really large, like the Full Armor FAZZ, you will need the Action Base 1, either the original one or the one that they only release with a kit. And that's pretty much it, folks. This stream will be a short one. We're just an hour and 30 minutes. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and till next time.